Hi everyone, this is the second video on JWT access token and refresh token generation in .NET 6 Web API. Okay, in the first video we have generated access token, JWT access token. In this video we are going to implement logic for generating refresh token and also how we can use the refresh token to renew the expired JWT token. Okay, so let's understand the flow of JWT access token and refresh token. Okay, when a JWT token expires to renew, okay, without user credentials, we will use refresh token. Okay, refresh token is a secret key, user secret key where we can generate a expired JWT token. If you observe this picture, here you can see username and password. When user sent username and password, valid username and password, API then send response like JWT access token and refresh token. So JWT access token is short-lived. Okay, recommended is 20 minutes. Whereas refresh token is long-lived and its recommended time is 7 days. Okay, so JWT token will be added as a request header. Okay, for every request. So the request will be authenticated request. For suppose after 20 minutes, if the refresh token JWT access token expired, then API sends response like unauthorized response. Okay, 401 unauthorized. In that case, client what it will do? It will sends the refresh token and API project validates the refresh token and generates the appropriate JWT access token UN and also new refresh token because once we use a refresh token, we should not use it again. Okay. So while creating a new JWT access token, refresh token also generated. Next time, user need to use the newly created refresh token. Okay. And before jumping to project, here I have created a simple refresh token table. Okay. It contains ID, which is a primary key, and user ID, and token and expiry date. In this table, a user can have n number of refresh token. N number of refresh tokens are nothing but user might authenticate it into the application from different browsers or different devices. Okay, so that's why it will have one to many relationship with the user table refresh token. Okay, so create a simple refresh token here with user ID, token, and expiration date as its columns. Okay, now let's jump into our project. So let's go to our account service file. Okay, now I want to create a one new method, private method where I can generate the refresh token. Okay, here refresh token can be any random string. Okay, string create refresh token. Okay, this is my method, and to generate a random string I can use, first I will get the bytes of data. For that I will use random number generator instance. Okay, that loads from system.security.cryptography. Okay, from this I will get the bytes of data. So I want 64 bytes of data of string. Okay, so I am getting the bytes of string, random bytes of string. Now what I will do, I will convert them bytes into a base 64 string. So I can use that value as my refresh token. Convert to base 64 string and pass the token bytes. Okay, now I generated the random string that I can use as a refresh token. So now what I have to do? I have to check whether this refresh token is already exist in database or not, because it should be unique, right? Because based on that value only, I will find out the user information for renewing the new JWT access token. So for that, first let's test whether token is in use, means already exist. For that, what I will do, I am going to, I have to test my refresh token table, but I haven't created refresh token entity, right? So first let's create the refresh token entity here, entity class here. Okay, refresh token.cs, create a new file in entities. So to this class, let's add our database columns. Okay. Okay. This is my refresh token table and just update it in DB context. My auth DB context, let's add DB set refresh token. Okay. So we registered our table with our database context. Now let's go to our account service. Now I can access dot token refresh token where token equal to newly generated refresh token. Okay, dot first dot default async. Okay. Here what I will do, instead of fetching data, I will use any just boolean. So it will return whether the record is exists in the table or not. So if the record exists in table, then I need to re-execute this method again. Okay. So I will call again this create refresh token method again. If not exist, then it is fresh token, then we will return it. So that is our private method. Okay. Now let's create one more private method where we are going to insert newly created refresh token. Okay. So here let me create one more private method. Private async. Okay. Task insert refresh token. Okay, and it will have input parameters like user ID and refresh token. Okay, now let's create the object for a new refresh token. New refresh token equal to new refresh token object. Okay, and here user ID equal to user ID and token equal to refresh token, and here our expiration date. So I want to give 7 days of expiration. So I can give 7 days. Okay. Now just insert this record into the database. Okay. So for that, my auth context refresh token dot add new refresh token. Okay. Await my auth context dot, sorry, save changes. Okay. So this method going to insert our newly created refresh token. Now let's update our token DTO along with the access token. I want to return this refresh token as well. Okay. So client will store in browser session or anywhere in their state management. So refresh token had the property. Now let's update our get authentication token method to return both access token and the refresh token. So for that what I will do, where access token equal to, just send this method here. Okay. Now where refresh token equal to create refresh token. And once we generate refresh token, we must save it back to our database. For that, let's call our insert refresh token method and pass user dot user dot id, comma, and next what we have to add, refresh token as a input parameter. Okay, and here, okay, fine. So after inserting it, let's simply return the response. Access token, comma, refresh token equal to refresh token. Okay. Okay. Now let's run our application and check whether we are getting a refresh token along with JWT access token or not. Okay. Okay. Now let's test it with my credentials. So here you can see a random string that is generated as a refresh token. If we observe the database, you can see a record must be inserted here. See, for user ID 1, one token is inserted, refresh token. Okay, now we have to create a endpoint for renewing the JWT token based on the refresh token we send. Okay, so for that, what we will do, let's first create the payload object. Okay, I want to use new endpoint as a post method, so I will create a new class, new DTO class for payload. So I will name it like refresh token DTO. So it will contains only one property like token. So where we will send refresh token value to this token property. Okay. So now let's define a method in iAccount service. Okay, for renewing the tokens. Okay. So task, it will also return token response, but it is a renew tokens, and it will contains payload like refresh token DTO. Okay. So let's implement this method in account service. So here let's implement. So here is the method we have to implement. Okay. First, let's check our refresh token exists in our database and also its expiration is still valid. Okay. It is not expired. Okay. So for testing that, user refresh token equal to await. Okay. My auth context dot refresh token dot where token equal to refresh token hyphen token, and also we have to check the expiration time. So dot expiration dot create date greater than or equal to date time dot now. Okay. Dot first or default async. If it is empty, means either token doesn't exist in the database or it might be expired. Okay. At that case, just simply return null. And here I want to mention one more thing. Here there will be multiple records for tokens, right? User tokens. They will be expired after 7 days, right? So to make this table light and to remove the all unnecessary data, instead of writing a delete query here, okay, I suggest to write a background job where it runs every day and it checks for any expiration tokens in the table or not. If you are there, that job will delete our expired tokens. So our table will be very lightweight. So that is one suggestion. Okay, so come back to this method. If the tokens are not found, we are going to return null. If tokens found, we have to fetch the user information where user equal to await my auth user dot where. Since in refresh token we will have user ID, right? Dot ID equal to user refresh token dot user ID dot first dot default async. And okay, once we got that, next we have to generate a new refresh to new JWT token. Okay, create JWT token. We method already we have, right? So to that method we are going to pass our user information and where new refresh token equal to create refresh token. Okay, once we got the refresh token, we must update the database record because I mentioned, right, we have to use or we have to verify refresh token only once. So I will update the this refresh token information. So what I will do, user refresh token dot token equal to my newly generated refresh token. Okay, and also we have to update again the expiration date. So date time now dot add is 7 days. Okay, and simply call save changes async. So it's going to update this record we are fetching, right, from database. NT framework keeps the track. So if we update the properties and we call save changes, it will update the changes we made. Okay, and finally we simply return the new token DTO. Okay, so access token equal to new JWT token and refresh token equal to new refresh token. New refresh token. Okay, so that's our method for generating the refresh token. So what we are doing, we are first fetching the user reference token table data. If that doesn't exist, returning null. If it exists, we are getting the user information and we creating token, refresh token, and updating the old refresh token and its expiration time and saving to the database, and finally returning the response. Okay. Now let's create our renew token endpoint, which is a post endpoint. So go to our controller, account controller. Okay, here let's create one more method, action method. So I will name it like renew tokens. Okay, its payload will be refresh token DTO. Okay, and it should be a HTTP post. and let's define some route. Okay, renew token. Okay, so now where tokens equal to await account service renew token and pass our refresh token payload. Okay, if tokens is empty, okay, that means either our token is not exist in database or it is expired. So at that time I will simply return validation problem and a message like invalid refresh token. Okay, next finally return OK. Okay, so that's it. Let's test our renew token endpoints as well. Okay, here is our new endpoint. First, let me get the access token. Okay, access token we have already generated, right? If you want generate new, generate it. I am copying from the database. And let's open renew token endpoint, try out, and paste here our token. Okay, and execute. See, new access token and refresh token. And if you observe this database, if you execute, it starts with IU, right? What's newly generated is some GZ. So let's execute again. It is updated successfully or not. Let's check. See, it is updated successfully. And we also renewed the new access token. So this is how refresh token helps to regenerate the access token without any user credential. Okay. So that's the end of this video series. We're generating JWT access token and refresh token in .NET 6 Web API. I hope this video has delivered some useful information to you all. If you like my video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel. Soon we are going to meet with new videos. Until then, signing off.